Hi, everybody. Rachel and I are together today. We're very excited. And Rachel is doing all kinds of things, and she has lots of things to talk about today. So I'm just going to basically turn it over to you, Rachel, because I'm excited about all the things that we talked about just a few minutes ago.
Where do I start?
No,
So,
the third
yeah,
eye. Let's start with the
yeah.
third eye.
Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, so this is my own personal experience, and I think other people are feeling this as well, because actually talking to friends that their children, they have had issues with their eyes as well. So it felt a couple of weeks ago, it felt like there was just this immense, like something was happening with my third eye. And it was so intense that I found myself, when it relieved itself, I found myself fully frowning. And I had to almost check that I wasn't constantly frowning because it was so intense. And it just carried on. So first of all, it was just in the evenings and kind of at night. And then it started kind of last week, kind of happening through the day, and getting closer and closer into kind of where we are now. It's just been so intense, and to the point where it felt like it was almost ripping apart on the inside. But I mean, it started in so many different ways. It was like a sharp, long feeling, and then sometimes it went all across to my ears, and then sometimes it would just be that one side of the face, and it was all over the place. But I feel like it's kind of dislodged my eyeballs physically because I had this sty. So Friday night I got the sty on my eye, and I spray, if I ever get any issues with my eye, I spray it with colloidal silver because that's like it's heavenly for them. And by the next day, I still had this pain, which I was thinking, gosh, well, that's not right.
Right.
But as the weekend has progressed, it has got worse and worse. And then I had two styes, one above, one below, and then this one started getting infected. So I forgot, and we do this a lot. We forget about the things that we actually need for our bodies. Like you get a headache, the first thing you should drink is salty water, proper salt, obviously. And I'd forgotten about vitamin C. I forgot about MSM. I forgot about the magnetic bowl even, and
Mhm.
actually using silk in front of my eye, and then with the bowl on top. Oh, it's been heavenly, and sleeping with it under the pillow as well. So oh, it's quite incredible how fast the healing has actually occurred with the magnetic, because it is really good at anti-inflammatory stuff. I mean, literally on Saturday night, I literally had black eyes. Like it was all black down here, and I was thinking, oh no, I'm not going to be able to do the show with honey. But anyway, so I've been Sunday was my revelation day. Like I forgot all about vitamin C, but we forget the most logical things because we're just not thinking straight. I mean, it's very, very easy to do, and I think we need to forgive ourselves for such ventures. But yeah, it's been quite
Yeah.
intense because we've all had. Have you experienced any of this as well?
Um, Only when I'm sitting in the sun. Now, in the past, I've definitely done like third eye purges and three eye atlas. I mean, that's about the third eye. And
Mm,
I just did for my Healing with Honey group, I just did a third eye activation. So the third eye it's like in an upgrade period right now. And we're going to be able to see more and more. I know that for me, the astral plane has become very clear. And I've been having conversations in the astral plane, and I come back and remember what they are
mm,
over the last few days. Whereas before, I wasn't, I didn't usually remember. I had little bits and pieces of things, but it's really gotten more and more clear.
yeah,
And you know that that's the actual reality, and this is the organic game that we're in. And also, I've been waking up a little more peppy, which is unusual for me.
What
Usually,
does
I'm like,
what does
oh,
peppy
I
mean?
have to get out of bed
What does
because
peppy mean? You mean,
like peppy means energetic, like I've had
oh,
more
happy.
energy.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. And
when
what?
I wake up. So I think that's been part of, the shifting too.
Yeah.
Um, and my soul is like coming back in faster in the morning.
Oh,
So there's just a lot of stuff going on right now, and it's a big change. But the
mm,
third eye is a really big part of it.
yeah, huge. And no coincidence with Three Eye Atlas. No
Right.
coincidence. Yeah, yeah. And I think it also, I mean, there's a lot of fear porn. There's some people saying it's good, some people saying, but I suppose if you take it overall, there's nothing good or bad. There's only thinking that makes it so.
Hmm.
So because we're learning to grow, and for me, it takes it back to when I did my trauma therapy. I mean, it was literally only not last year, the year before, where I had some homeopathy, and it brought up all these emotions, like like a knot, and it reappeared, and I just thought, oh my God, I've got to do something about it this time. I really have to. And I'd kind of opened my eyes to different trauma therapies and anyway, I chose a friend. I mean, it was literally 3 hours long. We did some drawing and I think a tiny bit of writing down, and then we burnt it. And then the next thing that we did was it was a picture of a person, and then it had three, I think it was 3 or 4 rings around it, and we were literally colouring it in. And I was saying these things. I can't remember exactly what I was saying, and the lady that was facilitating it was watching my aura, and she had these crystals that she was kind of like resolving the aura. I
Hmm.
don't know, balancing it. I'm not entirely sure, but she was kind of drawing my aura. I was coloring in my aura, and the relief. I don't know. There was just something phenomenal about that. And I came home and I got the chickens out. It's my heaven is getting the chuk chuks out. I call them chuk chuks, and I sing to nature and I thank the trees around them, and and but I could just ground so easily. And I had this one chicken. She died unfortunately last summer, but she was called Avon, and she's a big, black and white striped chuk chuk. And she would come up to my feet when I was grounding, when I was focusing on it, and she was like, I mean, I'd never felt anything like it before in my life. She was like a powerhouse, and she was like, I don't know, she was there as a protector, I feel, because when I was really ill, I'd wake up and she was always sat by my head looking over me. She was just
Hmm.
an utter darling. She really was. But yeah, so the grounding that I had from that one specific, just 3 hours of trauma therapy. I mean, the whole of my childhood, wiped out in kind of, not wiped out, but the trauma, the effect that it has. But it's like, I think it is. I don't know if it was you that described it like this, but you're thinking about this and you think about, and you put it all on your shoulders and you're dragging it along, and all
Hmm.
these things do end up kind of dragging us down. And when we free ourselves from it, the miracles, the possibilities that then surround us are unimaginable, because what's happened in my life over the last 2 years, ever since that has occurred, is phenomenal. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody had told me, what I'm going to like start accomplishing and helping people with is just, I'd never have believed them, because, from where I was then, and sometimes it is really difficult because when you are in the kind of the lack environment, you can't understand the beauty or the joy, or that is to come, because you're not in that state. So you can't solve a problem at the level in which you found it, essentially. So you
Hmm.
bring your vibration up, you do your trauma therapy, you let go of all that nonsense. And then all of a sudden, you're elated a lot more, and more possibilities come along. And I think also, I mean, lately, I've become a lot more sensitive or compassionate. And I think people are, and not just necessarily males and females, but, there's a lot more things that trigger me lately. I heard a beautiful story, because we've just had the go ahead basically for the funding for
Hmm.
the project. So, I mean, literally, like, I think 2 weeks ago we spoke, and and it wasn't that far. We'd been, searching for a year for this one specific bank that won't, we can't or the bank can't draw down the money on the SBLC. So it was, that the nefarious aspect of the banking wasn't well, a lot of banks just said no to it basically because they couldn't do their nefarious things. So we finally found about, and it's just, I mean, it's incredible the story of how it's come along, how the people connect, and how do we drive these things, and then how do we help? This is phase one, yes, but it doesn't stop there.
Mhm.
That there is the next phase, there's the next phase, and then how do we enable others to actually, get the funding for themselves and become sovereign, become, but what does that mean for everybody? What does success mean? Because success means completely different things for different people. And when I was working in business many years ago, and I'd go to all these events, and it was, yes, soulless, but there were gems in there that I remembered and I had, connections with. And so I recontacted a couple of these connections just recently, and they were coaches from 2017, and now they've joined. One has helped me with the magnetic business, and the other one is now helping with the Lit project, the Live in Truth, which is this big humanitarian project, and the sums are just going up and up and up. So it's just, it's phenomenal,
Mhm.
but the sensitivity, more compassion, more love is really is becoming a lot more prevalent, I think, with
Mhm.
whatever's happening energetic, because the world, the earth is kind of evolving as well as us, and
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
really is.
we're basically in the fifth density, so we have to let go of the third density stuff.
Yeah.
And as we do, then we become more of who we actually are meant to be, which is more aware, more sensitive, more able to observe also from a higher perspective and not get completely involved and know that someone, maybe they're triggered and they're having a fit, but really what they're doing is healing.
Yeah.
So knowing those kind of things, I think, is really big right now because we're in a huge transition.
Mm,
And this year is a huge transition, and it's kind of like culminating right now. Like there's all this activity. And if you're seeing things through the lens of lack,
mm,
then knowing that it's your subconscious stuff that you haven't healed yet, that is basically giving you glasses that have the word lack on them or that are a color like muddy gray, or you're seeing things through a lens that tells you that it can't work out. But if you clear the trauma of what caused the lens to be that color, then the lens becomes pink and you can see things through love and you're not worried about it anymore. And that's when all the good stuff comes in.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit like life working for you and not to you,
Mhm.
or through you,
Yes.
essentially. And it's more about the language and how we perceive it, isn't it? Because when we know that life works for us, then we know that all the magic can just come in, and it does. And we were talking about the honeycomb chair.
Yes.
So this
I
is
love that.
Viktor Grekenikov. So it's Victor spelt with a K. Because if you search for Viktor Grekenikov, it literally comes up with nothing. But if it's Victor spelt with a K, then it does start coming up. And it took me like a day. Grekenikov. Anyway, so Victor, he created this flying carpet basically, but he saw that this beetle's wing flipped over just all on its own, and so he investigated kind of the well, it doesn't go with science. Let's just put it that way. So the science that we know in today's world, it doesn't equate to anything because it just doesn't exist. But we can see that it does work. So it's the fact that the foundation of our science is kind of wrong in the first instance. So
Hmm.
anyway, so he was investigating this. He created like a wooden board with all these beetle wings underneath, and so he called it a magic carpet. And he would literally go 2,000 miles an hour, and from the ground, people would see it as like a ball of light. So it reminds me of all the plasma stuff and the things that people are seeing. So maybe we've got
Wow.
loads of Viktor Gregenikov carpet flyers everywhere. Don't know. But
Well, and maybe he's one of the ones who created it in the past because they used to ride magic carpet rides.
they,
I mean, that was
yeah.
a thing. Who was on a magic carpet like the Hindu gods?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So, oh gosh, I mean, these worlds that are going to like just come into our atmosphere, just it's incredible, isn't it? And I've
yeah.
always envisaged, like, I know we're going off slightly, but I've always envisaged like castles, like in the clouds and stuff, and little
Hmm.
cities just floating along. Because I know the ships are there, the ETs, aliens, whatever you want to go, entities or different dimensional beings, they are up there, but we physically can't see them. And maybe this is what it's trying to tell me. I don't know. But going back to Viktor Krukhenigov, so he also noted that when he was, I think he'd gone camping or he was lying on the land and he felt his head felt all funny and swoony and discovered that he'd been laid on top of a, a beehive that was underground. And he did a load of investigations into the honeycomb. And so he created this chair that had the honeycomb in the back of it, and people would sit up against it. And if they felt any issues with their body, they would just be resolved a little bit like the magic bowl because the atmosphere is condensing, we've got additional pressures, we've got these changes to our physical body, we've got the elementals, we've got the earth waking up. I mean, it's phenomenal, all the changes that are happening. So all the aids that we can have, the better, because
Hmm.
what. But the honeycomb, what I thought was really interesting was that how he tested it, and he did it with a spider's cobweb with a tiny piece of I think it was like charcoal or something at the bottom, and it would just continuously spin when it was the correct vibration for the body. But the water, the body's made from water, and water always wants to upgrade, always. It never
Hmm.
downgrades unless it's killed. So all the pipes in our houses, any right angle that we have, it kills it a bit more. Um, and it also brings me to that to my bath and
Oh, yeah.
so I had a really interesting experience. So last time we spoke about when I hummed and I was singing and I was envisaging this rock underneath me, and then it's become like a rock into a temple. So I have been practicing with that, and then I had a bath because I mean I've become a what do you call it, a mermaid recently with my eyes just kind of
Right.
just to help them out. I was showering, bathing, showering, bathing throughout it was heavenly actually. I love water. So I was grateful for that. But as I was laid in the bath, I was singing, I was humming, but I was doing a meditation to let nature know. And as the earth is upgrading as well, I wanted to send a message to her to say that we are going to change things. We are becoming more aware. We are going to help and just let everything and everybody upgrade that touches this water, and let it,
Mhm.
let the energetics of it be like a ripple effect. And no matter how many times it goes through it like a right angle and tries to die, that the essence of this still exists and the energy of it. I poured my heart and soul into this bath. And I pulled the plug, and as it was draining, I was thinking of, when is it going to hit all the ground source water, because our water goes into like a soaker. It doesn't go into the normal I suppose most people in cities and things and towns, they or it goes into some kind of sewer system. Ours doesn't. It goes back into the land. And so knowing that it was going to hit the grounds underneath and connect with all that water, I was just imagining this water and I was sending out all the love. And oh, it was heavenly. It was absolutely glorious. But as it just kind of, it filled me up, and I was just felt so much love. And but as it kind of reached and reached and reached, all the water just stopped draining from the bath. It just and I was thinking, oh gosh, what's happening? But so that then distracted me. The feeling dissipated and the water started going down again. So I thought, right, well, let's do it again, like sending out all the love. And as it got more and more extreme again, I could really feel it. The water stopped. I was thinking, oh my God, it's actually me. Oh, So, and I repeated it about 5 times just to make sure that it was me. But then I think that is a human trait that we have, that we don't always accept that we are here to change things. And we have this huge effect on life, on water, much more than, that because that was just like a simple exercise, just a simple meditation in the bath to send the waters out, and then all of a sudden there's
Mhm.
all this. So it almost felt like the earth was coming back up, so shocked that, like there's somebody here, they're listening to us and thank you. And that's kind of what it felt like with it stopping, like, oh my goodness, this is heavenly. So I just kept doing it until the whole
Mhm.
bath water had gone. But and we were talking earlier because it reminded me of when I was doing the natural horsemanship. So I rescued this racehorse. He was beautiful. I mean, horses are just magical. They kind of remind me of like a golden retriever, or like that they're
Mhm.
always really happy. Like, did I do it right? Can we do it? Do you want me to do anything else? They are so loving and so giving. And when you do something with them and they get it right, then we want to repeat it just to make sure that they did understand it. So essentially the horse would, think, well, obviously they didn't mean that because they're asking me to do it again. And so they do something different. And then the human's like, oh no, they got it the first time and now they've, but that's that human side to us, isn't it? And we're not
Mhm.
necessarily thinking about it in yeah, I don't know whether evolution or in a spiritual way, but just there is this questioning that the human side has to us, and I do find that slightly frustrating. We don't believe things, but I think when we want to relay it to other people because we're so excited, and when I was so excited after that bath.
Yeah. I see. Yeah. And the human is learning. The human part of us is a small, like younger consciousness. And so we have like this big soul that's here to guide them. And I equate like this could be the human consciousness and this could be the big soul. And
Mm,
they're in the body together, and one's the guide and one's the student. And the student has been stuck in a kind of yucky environment for a long time and told, you're small over and over again, and told that they don't matter, and just on and on and on. What has been told to human consciousness for hundreds of thousands of years. So they're basically blossoming right now.
yeah.
But they've definitely been, if I see it, I believe it, versus if I believe it, I will see it. And
Mm,
that's the paradigm shift that's happening for humanity right now.
yeah. Yeah. Hugely. There is.
Hmm.
Yeah, on the emotional side, I mean, it is beautiful what's happening, but it catches me by surprise to a certain extent.
Hmm.
I heard this beautiful story about this banker who's actually helping us, but he rescued some children, and it took me back to when I was 6 years old, and we would go to the rubbish dumps. And my parents were missionaries, and so we'd go there to do Sunday school basically with the children at the rubbish dump. And you'd get bitten by ants, and it was really good fun. But we turned up one day and the whole lot had been bulldozed, and anyone that ran had been, kind of gunned down with the machine guns. And it was just what was, normal in Brazil because they didn't want the favelas, the shanty towns essentially. Excuse me. So it took me back to that moment, where, all these children, and but the hope, the changes that we can make is quite phenomenal. So yeah,
Hmm.
there's so much to come. So the letting go, enables so much more to happen because you can't fathom now where you're going to be within 5 years. I mean, just for example, like the businesses or the companies that exist now. So we think of, I don't mean to swear, but Microsoft and things like that, they're big companies. But
Yeah.
in 5 years' time, the biggest companies haven't yet been thought of yet today.
Mhm.
And that's
Exactly.
where we are. that's the magic of where we could be, because anyone's ideas could have the most phenomenal effect. I mean, I dream up huge things, like flying a
Hmm.
helicopter over a skyscraper, and that's my building, and every floor is a different color, and we do, amazing, beautiful things in each on each floor, and I'm sure that will
Yeah.
come true at some point because I've envisaged it, and
Hmm.
I've shocked myself with what we can actually accomplish. But yeah, the what was the other thing? It was the monatomic gold. That this mono had this dream about monatomic gold, and I woke up going, okay, okay, I get it. I need to research monatomic gold. So I have been, and I found a few people that make it, and now we're investigating into using it with the magnetic bowl on energy points in the body, and then a
Hmm.
friend of mine said, "Oh, well, I've created this bed, and it's like this revolutionary technology of it's essentially how the eardrum works." And she created this patent. Basically, she didn't realize that patents were not necessarily the right way to do things, because patents just tell the world, what you want to do, and so they've got an idea of what to steal. But anyway, that's just my opinion. Not any advice to anybody else. But anyway, so she created this patent, but this patent is used across the MOD, the military, and all these different places. But it's not used for like child car seats and kind of our beds or but the changes that could be made, just with that one bed is phenomenal. The life saving, with the child seats and things. It's so yeah, so we're
Hmm.
going to kind of like come together, and so she's going to create these beds, and we're going to do like 7 different bowls, different colors to align with the chakras. So yeah, so that's going to be out very soon. There will be a limited amount of those. But anyway, it's just it's phenomenal. And then there's additional to the monatomic gold, and it's a way in which we can open up our third eye. It's the thymus, is it the hypothalamus, the pituitary, and what's the third one? Um, Pituitary, and I can't remember what the third
Hmm.
one is. Anyway,
I
there's
think the
three.
pituitary and the third eye are those are the only ones in the brain, I think.
Pituitary, hypothalamus, and is it
Oh,
thyroid?
right, the hypothalamus.
Maybe it's the thyroid. Anyway, so it's 3 glands essentially. So it is like it's the spiritual awakening, basically, is the monatomic
Hmm.
gold. And as it goes through the veins, basically, the magnets emphasize it. And so there is a much more a bigger spiritual
Intense.
journey, essentially, that we then go on. But then it goes further than that. So we're talking about it's called Maja. They call it Maja water, which is frankincense, myrrh, and monatomic gold. And for extra healing. Now, obviously, that was in the Bible, given to baby
Hmm.
Jesus to, I suppose, to accelerate his spiritual learnings and spiritual growth, I guess, to a certain extent,
Yeah,
from a
I get
big
yes on that.
baby.
Hmm.
Yeah. But I hadn't ever thought about it like that. It's frankincense, myrrh, and gold, and I helped a vicar sort out his cancer with it. But I thought gold was the turmeric, because the turmeric was used as, I suppose, a bartering tool in the biblical times, supposedly. No,
Yeah, and it's
whether,
very anti-inflammatory.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But then it was Mike Eden who worked for, he was one of the whistleblowers for Pfizer. So he confirmed that turmeric is also a way of sterilizing women. So don't use
That's
it
interesting.
potentially. Yeah, don't use it potentially if you're trying to have babies and stuff. But yeah, I
Same with
mean,
stevia.
yes, yes, very true actually. Stevia. I call it stevia.
Hmm.
Stevia.
Yeah.
It sounds more friendly as stevia. Um, but no, I suppose, with all these things, it's aids for us to progress to, newer levels, because I feel like there's this drive at the moment, this kind of like surge of energy to get stuff done, to get the funding. And I
Mhm.
watched a video yesterday with regards to someone that is say if anyone understands the Sesta or the what do you call it, the birth certificate stuff. Um,
Oh yeah.
I'm being
The
careful with words.
straw and the man. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Yeah, all that stuff basically. And there's apparently thousands of people that are using this system that have amounts of money that they'd never dreamt of. And this is a real thing. So anyway, so I've got in contact with the person themselves. So Honey and I may be able to do something together on a show with this person to relay this to everyone else because the platforms that it's on at the moment, it's not going to reach that many people. And I shared it with as many people as possible. But these things really need to be shared because we have options, we have choices, we have the people around us. The smallest things that we can do, it doesn't matter. And I think especially learning from, I don't know if you've ever heard of Jeff Morrow. He does these podcasts and he interviews all these people that have these near-death experiences. He interviewed over
Oh.
800 people that have had near-death
Mhm.
experiences, and it's phenomenal. And when they go to the other side, what they love and what they the attributes to their life has been, that they made that person happy or they held the door open. It's just the smallest things sometimes, that we have had an effect in this world in some way. That smile has gone round the world. We've heard that kind of saying before, and it is actually true. Things like that do happen, and the communication. So I'm very active, hooking people together, networking, gallivanting and finding new options, new solutions, and finding out from different people what they use. So when we network and we really come together, there is so much more that can be done from I don't know that there is that place of love. So when we connect, the more loving we can feel at that point, the more of a beautiful conversation we can have. So it is
Mhm.
from that baseline. Where do we come from? We come from love. We come from abundance. We come from giving. I don't know if you wanted to
We
say
do.
something. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and we come from source. I mean, we're all parts of source. So why would you deny yourself anything is the big thing. Like we did plan to come here and have experiences that kind of cracked us open a little bit so that we could do the things we're doing. And a lot of those were traumas, right? Because if you didn't have that trauma, then you wouldn't know how to do something. Like you wouldn't be empathetic if you
mm,
didn't have a certain kind of trauma. But as you heal the trauma, you still have the skill. But why would we deny ourselves abundance, happiness, joy, fun, ease in life? We
yeah,
don't need to anymore. So why would we? And I
yeah.
think that's one of the things that we miss. Like we know we have the spark of God within us, but that means you're part of God,
Mm. Well, the waters
so
certainly showed me.
you have that power, right? Everything is made from the body of God,
Yeah,
from the body of source. It's all plasma.
yeah. It's also in the play, because me having that bath and that experience, and then
Yeah.
I think last time I spoke of, I was looking at one cloud and I was stopping and starting it, and then last night I did it to a whole group of clouds, and it almost felt I was imagining all these they were big chunky monkey clouds, and I felt like I almost felt like it was a starship, and it was kind of coming in and coming in and coming, and I was being part of it, and and the whole thing stopped at one point, and I was thinking, oh my goodness, is that me stopping all those clouds? Um, and
Yes.
then and then it carried on. But then I was thinking, well, to such a big clump of clouds, maybe they're not stopping. Maybe it's just my perception of time slowing down. Because you can, I don't know. Anyway, but because
No,
when
I
you
think
know, like those
it's your
teams,
ability to, so you have a lot to do with water as a soul.
yeah,
So it's your ability to manipulate water. that's coming into play. And it's part of, everybody has different gifts, and that's one of yours.
Yeah. Yeah, I really think it is absolutely water. It's been a fascination of mine for such a long time. I think since 2017, I asked this lady what she did. It was a business conference. It was a women's business conference in London. And she said, "Oh, I do water." And I said, "Oh, I like you already. Tell me more." And we
Yeah.
ended up being really good friends when she's from where my ancestor is from in Ireland, in Galway. And yeah, I mean, that's a totally different story. But yeah, I mean, it's fascinating how all these things come along. But
Hmm.
I mean, the initial conversation that we had initially was around Telos and Lemuria. And I come from Lemuria. Now, you're an architect, aren't you? Is that
Yeah.
right? Yeah. But what does an architect do in a is that like the foundations, the building, the
Yeah. We build the matrix.
not our 3D matrix. You didn't build that one, did you?
The 3D matrix was a group of architects that were distorting it. So what they did is they distorted the real matrix, the matrix that was built to be the original purpose of Earth. They distorted that with a lot of trauma and pain and stress and a lot of negativity. And those beings don't exist anymore.
Mm,
So, as far as those souls, because they refuse to heal, they've gone back into the great sea that I would call source. So, all the plasma of the universe, they've been dispersed out and no longer have a personality.
mm. Interesting.
Yeah.
No.
And in doing so, when that happened, that basically allowed the universe to ascend because 3D wasn't going to be a part of the universe anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that density doesn't exist anymore at this point, as far as like the pain and the suffering and the yuckiness.
Yeah.
So the only thing that's left is the subconscious and what you're carrying around and still need to let go of.
Mm. Yeah. Now, in terms of like, so my parents, my brothers are very 3D. I'm the only
Mhm.
one that was like the black sheep of the family, I guess, that decided to
Yeah,
question everything and yeah, get expelled from school and run away and have all those
right.
fun things in my life. But they still haven't changed. I mean, they're still in their kind of little world of everything's fine. Like it's
Yeah, not
so
everybody's here to be a player.
interesting. Yeah.
So there are those who maybe all what they have is a human part of them. Okay. They don't have the big soul.
Oh, so there's some
So
of
they
us that
have
don't
the
even have a
young,
sorry.
they have a soul, but a
Yeah.
human is a soul as well. So it's just smaller and younger. So everybody that has a real human body and isn't a hologram has a human soul. And then a lot of us have a big soul as well that's guiding the human. So yeah, nice.
Uh-huh.
So I like props to explain things.
Yeah.
So this little human is, they've been programmed for a long, long time to have certain ideas, to be docile, to believe that they're small, to go along with whatever program is going on with the collective. So if you don't have another soul, a big one,
Mm.
then this one just kind of does the same thing all the time. And they
Uh,
don't change and shift. So they will ascend eventually without their body in the same way that everybody else ascends, and they will see at that point what
mm.
really went on. So
Interesting.
they are what you would call a form of NPC.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Because
the
when
holograph is the other form, the hologram.
yeah. Okay. So when I tried to tell them that I could see auras, it was almost as if I'd said the grass is green, and they just
Yeah,
stared at me. They had nothing to say. I was like, did I just speak Japanese or something?
right.
But what
Well, and
what I
if a human decides I want to wake up, then sometimes they'll have a walk-in.
Mm,
There's been a lot of walk-ins that
yeah,
have happened.
yeah,
So, but a lot of us walked in when we were like babies,
mm, yeah.
came in really young. I don't think a lot of us chose to go through the birth canal. At least I didn't. I wouldn't want to. No thanks.
The birth canal. What do you mean?
Yeah, so when a baby is born,
Yeah,
they usually just have the human part of them.
yeah,
And there's an agreement that a big soul will come in later.
yeah.
So my dad walked in when he was 4, when he had an NDE. I walked in when I was about 18 months old. And I think that's why a lot of people don't remember childhood memories as well. They don't have a lot of memory. Now, if you remember the womb, then you were in there as a bigger soul
Ah,
when were born.
yeah.
Not everybody has that, and I would say that's a pretty small percentage.
Interesting.
Most big souls came in just a little bit later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine came in a
And
bit later.
yeah,
Yeah. Wow. God, it's such a fascinating life, isn't it? I mean, the more you learn, like that you haven't learned before, that there's just going to be like this whole extraordinary, like, avalanche of information at some point. It's like,
mhm,
okay, we need to get the project started, need to get everybody on the road, quick, 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 because we've got a lot
yeah.
of stuff coming.
We're in a huge time like that right now. Like,
Yeah.
the platform, the communication platform that I'm involved in, that's all about like pushing humanity forward and having a place to communicate and thinking about projects. And if it's not a project, then maybe it's a small business that you're going to be doing that benefits humanity. Like maybe it's like these organic, shirts that are cotton and that I'm wearing, and then that's a small business. But those kind of things
Mm,
are just like it's time for them now.
yeah.
So the sense of urgency is really big.
Yeah, I could feel it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's bubbling up. I've literally just had the phone call to say, like literally 14 minutes before Honey and I started talking, like it is go, go, go. The banks are ready.
Mhm.
Like, where is all your documentation? So
Yeah.
it's full on at the moment. But I do love your platform. I did have a look at it actually. I haven't had time to complete everything, but I think I love also the locality of things. So you can check out people that are in your local area as well on your platform.
Yeah.
And I
I
think
love that.
that is so beautiful because so much
Mhm.
can because it's more about connection. I mean, thank goodness we met in Ireland. So it is so lovely to
Yeah.
meet people face to face because yeah, that makes the world go round because energetically we need that. We need that
Mhm.
connection. We need that growth and to remind ourselves the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah.
Excuse
Well, and
me.
that's why they made people stand 6 feet apart
Mm,
in the
yeah.
past, in the 2020 era.
Oh my God, that was just thinking
That
back.
was the whole purpose, so you wouldn't get to connect.
I remember seeing this guy walking into a park and he had literally, it was like a hula hoop around him, which was obviously this 6 meter thing. And he'd had it like strapped to his head and these things to keep it all in place. And he was walking around into this park and everyone was like trying to move out of the way from this guy. It was
Oh my
hilarious.
God.
Just hilarious. I remember doing like these little podcasts, saying, this guy, he broke his neck, fell down the stairs, but died of COVID. I should maybe say that word, but
It's okay.
died in a fire, but definitely died of the sea. And anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah. I mean, it's such a blessing actually what happened there. purely because
Oh yeah.
it separated the wheat from the chaff. It, the friends that I've made since that point on have, accelerated and have just, yeah, the more doors that close, the more windows open, or the other way around,
Hmm.
you know. And it is, so I said goodbye to a friend on, what day was it? Thursday or Friday last week. I got this message and I just thought, below the belt, really. And and maybe within 2 hours of saying goodbye, this new door opened, which has enabled a new chief of staff for the LIP project that's in San Francisco. She's amazing, and she was a coach of mine, and she understands all the things that I don't understand. So we can be good at many things. What's that saying? A jack of all trade is
Yeah.
something to do with master of
Master
many.
of none.
Yeah, but is which is better than the master of one is the little
Yeah.
saying that's missed off the end. So the more things that we have, the toolkit that we have, the better. But yeah, so I can't accomplish all the things that I'd like to accomplish. I would, but it would take me a little bit more time. So her coming along now is just, I mean, it's another miracle. I mean, I've had so many
Hmm.
miracles just since, 2 weeks ago. A whole day seems like a whole universe is changing.
Oh yeah. So much. It's crazy because for a long time the days were like really slow
Yeah.
and it felt like you couldn't get anything done. And probably over the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 days,
Mm,
it's just been frantic.
yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, how many things can I pack into this day? Because I have so many things
Mm,
that I want to get done. And we're in like hyper flow right now
yeah.
because, yeah. And you're in flow if you met people that are helping you with things and you're taking next steps, then you're in flow.
Yeah. Yeah.
But right now it's like a rushing river,
It really
like
is,
really
isn't it?
fast. Yeah.
I just but the excitement and the joy that comes from it and what could humanity, because if we can envisage what does
Hmm.
utopia mean for everybody, what does
Yeah.
success mean, what does enabling each other mean, growing food together, singing, sharing food, you know I was going to say breaking bread. That sounds really religious, doesn't it? But and also I've moved away from the grains.
Oh.
I've cut out wheat, any kind of those seed oils. There is one more thing that I've cut out, but I can't remember what it is. But anyway, um, but all those aspects to a community, to working together, to regenerate the land. That's what we're here to. It is literally the simple things, and I call it
Mhm.
simple things, but they are big things ultimately. And I think there's this chap, Mark the bowler hat farmer. I mean, there's been loads of examples where, people that are trying to do the good things have been threatened. They've been threatened with their lives,
Mhm.
but they continue. And I think it was Mark, and he said this in one of his talks, that he said that, he'd had a phone call to say, like, stop what you're doing. Because what he's doing is he's showing, so he did an experiment with this other farmer who was doing all the spraying and all the rest of it, killing the land. Lovely. But anyway, so he used electroculture and he used the no dig method. But the electroculture was the one that, the strawberries growing
Mhm.
January. And in England, it snows and it's really frosty at those times. So the bees were out, the flowers are out, which is complete contrary to what actually normally happens in this country in January. So, but he'd done this experiment, and so he made, I think, was it 34,000 from 1 acre per year from his land. And the farmer that was using the spraying and the doing the barley, all the rest of it, and wheat and things, he was making 16,000 per acre per year. So there was a huge difference there initially. And yes, it would cost a little bit more to get going on the
Mhm.
electroculture no dig side, but actually what could be accomplished after that was phenomenally much more food that you could actually produce for each other. So, but he was doing these talks on helping the farmers get out of their predicament with DEFRA, with so that there's subsidies. That's what it was called. The supermarkets, all these different aspects, that's occurring
Hmm.
And then the government, with their policies in terms of kind of the taxes and how much tax they have to pay if they're going to move it down to their, in generations to their sons. And there's like some ridiculous amount of, is it 20%, 40% tax or something to pay on it, on the amount. So it's going to cripple things. So anyway, so Mark's been helping all these farmers around England, and so long story short, he got this threat on the phone, and then he did another event, and he was like, he got phoned again and said, you didn't heed our, advice, blah blah blah. This that was your last, kind of warning. And then he got another phone call to say, if you've been threatened, just to let you know that that threat has now been neutralized. So there is so much good stuff going on behind the scenes, and we have no
Hmm.
idea about it because we're just not privy to that information. And it has taken so many different energy projects, literally, that I've been in contact with for them to share any information because they're so coy on. I mean, so many people. I mean, the amount of people that have died that came out with, like that they can run their cars on water, or they can, all these new inventions, everyone just disappeared. Or they were
Yeah.
poisoned, or, shot, or they committed suicide. Um, and we're hearing a lot more about those through all these psyops and things that are happening lately. But that there is a lot is happening now in the background. And I've had some strange experiences and think, actually, I think it was someone else actually coming to visit rather than what I thought it was initially. So, there is a lot going on, but it's taken real stamina to carry on, because
Yeah.
unless we do have that vision and that passion, because if the passion isn't there, then the stamina isn't there, there isn't that. I've had dreams of saber-toothed tigers, I didn't even realize that they were extinct. I was like, but for me, it was a time of like, digging deep and like, let's just
Hmm.
just carry on, let's just keep moving. Come on, everyone. But
Yeah.
yeah, I love
Yeah.
to
We really
inspire.
had to feel that way. It was kind of a hold the line thing, you know,
Yeah.
and we really have gotten through so much.
Yeah.
And at this point, like we've made it through. We're basically in the process of the rapture of ascension. We're in it. And we've succeeded to a point where we don't have to have any polarity anymore. The only polarity is the polarity that lives within us.
Mm,
We don't need any of that negativity anymore. And most of it is just like hot air. So you can basically allow it to go. But it took a long time to get to this point, and now we're letting go of all the layers
mm,
of programming and the stuff that's in the subconscious and the stuff that's in the collective, you know. And also, I tell people, please don't give your power away
mm,
while we're in the process of creating the new world. Don't say to, like, oh, well, this crowd of people thinks this, because then you're giving your power away to them and they may be hologram,
mm,
so don't split yourself up that way. Hold the line still and say, yes, I'm going forward into this new world and I'm going to help create it,
mm.
because that's kind of where we're at right now. And that's what the projects are about. They're
Yeah.
about creating the new world and coming into community and doing that together. And it's a big time.
Yeah. Actually, sayings. I pointed one out to a friend recently, and that I think I pointed something out, and then I said, "Oh my goodness, I've no idea." And I suddenly thought, "My goodness, what are we saying to ourselves?" Like the
Right.
saying of, "Oh, I've no idea." It's utter nonsense because we know intrinsically. And we're telling ourselves. I was also listening to, where was it? I think I was in somewhere where they were playing one of the Madonna songs, and I was listening to the lyrics. I was thinking, wow, God, and as if I listened to this when I was younger. I used to dance on my bed to it. as a
Right.
teenager. Oh, the days. My goodness. But the language. So I think being really aware of what is entering, because our subconscious does not know the difference between the real and the unreal. And that's
Hmm.
why people love, and I think you mentioned this with Janine recently, with horror movies, but it's the same with roller coaster rides. Their conscious mind and their subconscious mind are going through this huge battle of, no, it's fine. Thousands of people have done it. No, it's not. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. Down this
Yeah.
set. And I tell you one thing that is brilliant as you get older. Swings. Swings are infinitely more better or more exciting as an adult than they are when you're a child. I mean, great when you learn how to swing and stuff when you're a child, but when you get on it as an adult and your stomach just, oh, it's fabulous. I love it.
Hmm.
I like stuff like that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and doing things that you would do as a kid is basically reconnecting with your human.
Yeah.
And it helps to heal the human part of you, which is connected to your subconscious mind and your nervous system.
Mm,
So, doing all those fun things, it's so important for the human part of us, which is why we're here. We're here for
mm,
the human part of us. We're not here because we need to build a new world. Really, we're building it for humanity.
mm.
So, we've probably built lots of worlds together as bigger souls. We haven't lived on Earth all the time.
No, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I feel that. And when I did the what's it called? The Dolores Cannon, the DHH
QHHT.
QHHT, that was quantum healing hypnosis technique. That was it. And I went back into these previous lives that weren't. I think one of them I was on my way to Earth, and that was it. Earth.
Yeah.
And then I was under the sea at one of them, and I was putting my hand through the ship walls and stuff. And then the other one, I was pulsing love and oh, divinity. It was incredible. But yeah,
Oh.
there was all these. I think that's why I like learning to fly helicopters as well, because I love that kind of. It's like being on the sea, but you can't
Mhm.
see the waves. And especially when you
Right.
kind of you're reaching a like it's like a hill that plateaus, and you're coming up against the plateau, and there's the wind that's coming up, and you've got to take into account, as you fly in the helicopter. But it is so much fun. Honestly, I recommend everybody to go and have a go at flying a helicopter. Sorts out
Yes.
heights, have lots of fun, enjoy your inner child, experiment and understand spatial awareness. There's loads of stuff to learn on that front. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's yeah, really enjoyable. But the large soul aspect, that I really enjoyed. There was a podcast that you did recently with the Titan, the elemental, the
Oh, yeah.
fairy. Oh, it was beautiful. But just to see the different types of, I suppose, personalities, and the one that really Titan, the beautiful beings, and the emotional aspect of it was quite beautiful.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, really lovely. Thank you for that, because it was so useful to understand that. And people have no idea, that there are these different types of souls that are with us. And
Mhm.
I mean, there's no mistake there, is there? And that's the brilliant thing
No.
about it. And there's so many more that we could, touch the lives of and help each other. And I think we've all got the different ways of doing it. I mean, mine is sound and water and just the love in which we can implement into this world is phenomenal.
Mhm.
Absolutely phenomenal.
It is. It's totally beautiful. So I think that's a great note to end on. I think this was a gorgeous conversation. I'm gonna put I'll put that video below and I'll send it to you if you want,
Yeah,
Rachel.
yeah,
I feel like that was one of the videos that I had that people missed because maybe I didn't title it the right way, but it's so it's so amazing to meet someone who's part of your soul group and just to know the feeling of them
yeah.
and to realize, oh, that's, the group's purpose. Because all the soul groups were created with like a group purpose.
Mm,
And
mm.
it's really gorgeous to know all those things. So
Do you know others
it's,
from Lemuria? Because I'm from Lemuria. Do you know others from Lemuria as well? Because I
yes. Well, I know many who've had many, many Lemurian lifetimes.
mm,
I don't know. You're the only Lemurian soul that I know.
oh,
Yeah.
what's the difference then?
So just like right now we're having a human experience, you're a Lemurian having a human experience, so that's the big soul, right? And you have a
Yeah.
human. But most of the people that I know, because I've had Lemurian lifetimes as well, are architects that had Lemurian lifetimes.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
So this would have been a Lemurian soul, and that would have been an architect.
Ah, okay. Wow.
Yeah. But you're the
Amazing.
only one I know that is the Lemurian. Yeah. Which is
Cool.
why all of your stuff has to do with water,
Were they surrounded
the
by,
love of water.
was it underwater then?
No, but I think a lot of the Lemurians now are showing up as whales and dolphins, and they're living out, a lifetime as that right now because, and they're also giving us lots of sound. So they're creating with sound. So all of those noises that are made are to do with frequency.
Yeah.
So they're doing all kinds of wild things.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, goodness me. Such a learning curve, isn't it?
really
Thank you so
fun.
much, honey. Oh, it's
Thank you.
absolutely glorious.
Yeah,
I
it's
feel
so
like a
much
fairy
fun.
sometimes.
Well, we all have aspects. Um, you could have gone and lived as a fairy. But when you meet someone who has a fairy soul,
Mm,
you know it
yeah.
because they're obsessed with all the nature, all the green. They have little fairy decorations up and
Yeah. I know
they
one.
they embody it. Yeah.
In fact, it's one of the projects for phase two because she needs a counterpart that isn't the fairy that will ground her into the next phase. But yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful. Wow. Thank you so much, honey. I really
Okay. Thank
appreciate your
you.
time.
This was
Thank
a lot
you.
of fun.
Yeah.
And we hope to see you guys soon.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. And the
Thank
links
you.
for this below as well. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
We
Yeah.
need
And let
all the
us
help.
know if you got one, how you feel about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know if you've had any improvements in sleep or headaches or pains or yeah,
Mhm.
because we had some comments below last time to say that someone had it underneath each bedpost and that they love them. They've had them for a year or so and wouldn't live without them.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I've
thank
been
you so
sleeping with
much.
mine under the pillow.
Yeah, are you sleeping well?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm sleeping really well. I do get rid of it in the middle of the night and put it like in the middle of the bed
Okay.
because I don't think I wake up as easy.
Yes, that is one problem actually. You do sleep well, but sometimes you can sleep too well. Is there such a thing? It depends what you needed to be up for in the morning. But yeah,
Right.
I get that.
Exactly.
I get that completely. But yeah, but
Yeah.
they're
So usually like, I don't know, 4 or 5, it goes away into the
okay.
middle of the bed and then I wake up at 6.
Okay. Yeah, because
Yeah.
then you'll have your lucid dreaming between 5 and 6.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. And then so just very quickly, they're £175 on Honey Golden's website link. So that'll be underneath her video. So I'll link her video in with mine as well. So everyone has
Oh,
access.
thank you.
So and thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
guys.
Thank
This was
you.
so beautiful. Thank you,
Yay.
Rachel. Bye, everybody. Love you.
Bye bye. Oh.